OBS. Is it back on OBS now? Okay, it is. Okay, guys. So we left our adventurer, our wonderful, mysterious adventurer, as he was going on his own journey. He had just arrived on a new world, and he wanted to set out to discover what it was all about. This took some across many different lands and meeting various different people as he wandered around, and he found himself wondering what all was out there. He went on fantastical journeys and met wonderful people, but no encounter was quite as arduous as the specific one that we are going to talk about today. Oh, that's messed up. Ignore that. So, he wandered and he found himself on a hellish world, lined up with his best friend Droopy. They were wondering what caused this world to end up in the way that it was. Little did he know, he was going to meet someone that was very close to himself. This man proclaimed himself as the world conqueror and told the young man that he was that they were the same. Now, the young man could not abide by this. He said, "No, you can't use the kind of powers that we have for evil. We have to be helping people." The man that he had met decided that this was not how he wished to use his power, and thus they began fighting. However, their powers were too similar and too powerful, and so as they clashed, boom! The young adventurer found himself winding up on another new world. Boom! Oh, how did I end up here? He said, as he came face to face with another young human like himself. The young human said, "Uh, who are you, and how did you get up to my space station?" The young man looked at him and said, "I'm not quite sure. I did not choose to come here, but I also cannot stay for long. Uh, if we should ever meet again, just remember that my name is Van Ventura, and if you ever need a hand, I will be there. Just call my name, and I will find you." And with that, the young man decided that it was time to head out on his next journey. Well, in his next journey, he found himself here, confronted with what looked like a strange humanoid lizard. The two of them talked, and they found that they had a lot in common. So they hung out for a little while. They decided to go on some journeys, and then became traveling. The two of them quickly became best friends, and they went on many adventures together through the forest, through the rain, through the snow, through many countless battles. But it came time that the young adventurer knew that it was time for him to go again. And so he said, "Though we must part, I'm sure I'll see you again. If you ever need me, call my name and I will be there." And he turned away and left once again. And then, as his portal opened and he went to go find a new world again, trying to find this arch nemesis that he had made for himself, boom, he ended up in what looked like the mountains of some kind. And in this mountains, he met a man much bigger than himself who claimed to be an archangel. Well, this adventurer, not believing in gods, demons, or angels, said, "Well, that can't be so." And so, the two of them sat and chatted for a while. They became close friends. They even hung out a little bit, and they played some games together. But, once again, the adventurer found that it was time for him to take off. "I'm sorry, my friend," he said, "but it is time for me to go. I have unfinished business to go through." But if you shall ever need me, you can call my name, and I will come running. And the archangel said to him, "Same, bro." And then the young adventurer said, "Oh, time for me to go." And he opened another portal and left. And then his portal opened him up into another new place. Swoosh! "How did you get in here?" the strange alien creature said to him. He said, "Why, I just opened another portal. How did you get here?" He said, "This is my ship." "Oh, I guess that makes sense," he said. And the two of them chatted for quite some time, and they realized that they were very close, and they grew very close. They chatted and chatted. They played some games. They had some talks, and they were the closest that they had ever been. But once again, the young adventurer said, "Oh," and once he summoned his friend, he said, "I'm sorry. It is time for me to go. I have unfinished business. But should you ever need me, you can call my name, and I will be there." As he opened the portal to leave. Phew. And as his portal opened once again, he found himself in another strange land. "Who are you?" he said, as he stared upon the visage of a dragon. The dragon said, "I'm Lovehammer, the mightiest dragon in the world." And Van said, "I don't know. I've seen some mighty dragons before." And the mighty dragon said, "Oh, are you sure you've seen dragons as mighty as me?" And she swung her mighty hammer. The young man flew in to meet her hammer with his blade. The two of them clashed for quite some time, neither giving way. After many, many hours of clashing, they came to an understanding. Yes, this dragon was mighty, and this human did not seem to be anything like other humans. And they talked for some time. They went on some adventures as well. And they grew close as friends. But once again, it came time for the adventurer to find himself on one more adventure to find the man whom he had lost in the scuffle before. So he said, "I'm sorry, Lovehammer. I have to leave now. It is time for me to leave. But should you ever need me, you can call my name and I will come." As he opened himself another portal and fled. His portal opened him up in a strange place. This was much like Earth. However, it was different. It felt more like his home, but not quite. And so he told this person, or he asked this person, "What are you doing here?" And this person said, "I'm going on an adventure." And the young adventurer said, "So am I." And the two of them began to argue about who had the greatest adventures. They talked about what they'd done, all the creatures they'd saved, and all the creatures they'd fought. The adventurer talked about slaying dragons and making friends and saving planets. Uh, the strange man claimed all the same things. He claimed he had saved a space whale. He had claimed that he had gone to the future and the past. This was something that the young adventurer had never experienced before. And so the two of them, not unable to discover who or to declare who was the better adventurer, decided to have a challenge. And so the two of them had decided to go on timey-wimey adventures together. They hopped in this strange man's vehicle, or box, known as the TARDIS, and they went on many, many adventures together through time and space. Even as they continued to go through time and space, they realized that neither of them could ever outdo the other. So they agreed that if anyone asked, they shall claim the other one as the greatest adventurer that they'd ever met. But once again, the young adventurer said, "It's time for me to leave. But should you ever need me, call my name, and I will come. And the strange man said, and you as well. However, at last came the time. The young adventurer, after his many travels, had found the man he was searching for. The man said, "Oh, it's you again. You didn't learn from last time?" The young adventurer said, "I'm no longer the man that you knew before. I have traveled many worlds and met many a people, and things will not go the same way they had before." The man who he had fought before said, "Neither am I." And with his mighty power, he began to tear open the fabric of space, one at a time. And out of these rips in space, he began summoning monsters. Zombies, skeletons, anything he could get his hands on. He's like, "I'm not alone." The young adventurer said, "What makes you think I'm alone?" And he began opening his portals, much more versed in how they work. He was quickly able to summon multiple at the same time. And so he said, "Meet my friends, the Doctor, Lovehammer, and Fubuki." And his portals disappeared. And from out in the sky, one man claimed, "Don't forget about me," as he flew down on wings that he did not appear to have. The young adventurer said, "You're always welcome, Biggs." and and then, as things went by, fighting began as all of his friends began to take on the monsters and said, "Leave this to us. You can have your one-on-one." However, as the young adventurer looked over and he saw the doctor, he looked at this man and said, "What are you doing?" And the doctor claimed, "I'm sonicking them." And the young adventurer said, "What does that even mean?" And then the doctor replied with, "I don't know. I was trying to be helpful." And so, as he left his friends to handle the monsters, he cornered the strange man, and they began to clash again. However, things were not going to turn out the same way as they did before. For the young adventurer had not called his trump cards yet. Coming up on the communicator that what he had been carrying on his wrist, his two space friends came, the wonderful alien Nova and the spaceman Aiden. They spoke to the adventurer and said, "We are ready whenever you are." And the young adventurer, through blood and sweat, as he clashed with his evil half, said, "I am ready." And as he proclaimed, they both began to type commands into their own consoles. And together, they unleashed God's hammer upon the evil. And once that had been completed, the man had vanished.